A day to remember for the rest of your lives.
There's a great promise for all of you.
The Pro Football Hall of Fame and Extreme Networks present the Heart of a Hall of Famer program. With nearly 100 Hall of Famers participating, we have reached 48 states around this country, sharing the message that football is more than a game and can teach Americans how to huddle up during a time when we need to be united.
It's time for America to take a real deep dive. Not at no one else, but at yourself individually. If you want to change America, don't brush your teeth with your head down. Look at who you are and be the example. Be the example.
An opportunity to meet and learn from one of the greatest football players of all time. But more than that, the chance to see that their Hall of Fame life wasn't given to them. Single-parent homes, drug-infested neighborhoods, and poverty.
I grew up in a neighborhood that was considered one of the worst in America, and the household I grew up in was one of the worst in that neighborhood. By the time I was 20 years old, I knew at least 30 friends or family members who had lost their lives. Football became like a second parent to me. It taught me the things that my father wasn't there to teach me, and that my mother, as a struggling, single-parent woman, just didn't know to teach me.
But they learn how to live a life of character before pursuing their football careers. Today, you will learn you can do the same that they once did. Making good decisions can lead to a prosperous life both on and off the field. Your game for life has already begun. It's your decision whether or not you want to be a successful student, son, daughter, brother, or sister.
Every one of you can have a Hall of Fame life, whether or not you play football. You can be as great as you want to be. The Hall of Fame is all about integrity, character, and excellence. You have the opportunity to represent yourself that way. You determine your character.
Welcome to a once-in-a-lifetime program, the Heart of a Hall of Famer.
Because of those that encouraged me in those early years, I am here today. So I want to encourage you, every student, every athlete, every person who will hear my voice. Don't listen to the naysayer. I had plenty of those. Don't listen to those that will judge you for your rough edges. Don't focus on your weakness so you won't become a victim. Find the goodness in you that says, yes, I can be a good student. Yes, I can be a good son and daughter. Yes, I can be a positive role model. Yes, I can, because the good in you is better than the worst in most. Choice is yours. Be the best that you can be. I truly believe that none of us is anything until the least of us is something. The great writer James Baldwin said, naked I came into this world and naked I should leave. We are bound to leave everything we accomplished in this lifetime behind, passing it on. So leave a legacy that you and your family can be proud. I've given you the best that I've got, and I'm a better person for it. Thank you for being here with me and for me. I thank God for his favor today, and may God bless us all. Thank you so much.
All right, and with that, I'd like to welcome everybody to another installment of the Pro Football Hall of Fame's Heart of a Hall of Famer series, powered by Extreme Networks. My name is Jake Ray, and I'm the Youth and Education Manager here at the Pro Football Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio. I want to welcome everybody we have participating today, especially our gold jacket, Mr. Floyd Little. Before we turn things over to Mr. Little, to start off the program, I have a few thank yous I'd like to pass out, and I want to talk a little bit about what the Hall of Fame is. The mission at the Pro Football Hall of Fame is to honor the heroes of the game, to preserve its history, to promote its values, and to celebrate excellence everywhere. Those values we promote are those of commitment, integrity, courage, respect, and excellence, all of which we're going to touch on today. I'm excited today. I hope you students are excited as well. Before we turn things over to Mr. Little, like I said, just a few thank yous I'd like to pass out. I'd like to say thank you to our folks at Extreme Networks. You know, without them, this program doesn't happen, and this program wouldn't take place. They do a lot of great things for us here at the Pro Football Hall of Fame and do a lot of great things for schools across the country, so we'd like to thank them. Secondly, I'd like to thank our teachers and administrators allowing us to come into your classroom today. We appreciate you allowing us opportunity to talk a little bit about the game of football and how important, you know, a thing like football and sports are to students all across the country. And then lastly, I'd like to thank our students. You know, without you guys, the program doesn't happen today. As I said, I'm excited to see where the program goes, excited to see the questions you guys have prepared for Mr. Little today. But before we get to your questions, I'd like to turn things over to Gold Jacket, Mr. Floyd Little. Floyd, welcome. How you doing?
Thank you. I'm doing really, really good and glad to be here.
Awesome. Well, if you'd like to open everything today with some opening remarks, feel free to go ahead.
All right, I'm ready. I'm just so excited that I have the opportunity to come to the middle school here and look at you and you look at me and give you an opportunity to ask me some questions. But more importantly, it's been an unbelievable journey for me to be here. And I thank you for giving me an opportunity to be here with you, to talk with you, to tell you a little bit about my journey. It's been a great journey to the Pro Football Hall of Fame, where Ray mentioned it's a place where they honor the heroes of the game, preserve its history, promote the values, and celebrate excellence everywhere. And today I want to celebrate your excellence for being here. You have an opportunity to get an education. That's the most important thing that I think that we all have an opportunity to get. I think getting an education is better than getting into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. You wouldn't think that, but I do. It's important that we get an education. There's people that are great and there's people that are good. The good people, there's 4 Ds, will represent a good person: drive, determination, dedication, and desire. Those are for good people. But if you want to be excellent and you want to be great, it's going to take commitment and sacrifice. Those are the 2 things that keep you from being excellent and great: commitment and sacrifice. I made the commitment to go to law school while I played football. That's why I wear my law school hat. I went to law school as a football player because I wanted to be a lawyer. Not necessarily a football player, but a lawyer. And the other thing is I'm wearing a gold jacket. I'm in the Pro Football Hall of Fame out of 318 Hall of Famers. I'm number 257. John Randall is 258. Jerry Rice is 259. And Emmitt Smith is 260. So I'm in a pretty good class. I'm in a pretty good class with you. As a Hall of Famer, it gives me the opportunity to get a chance to talk to you, talk about the benefits of being a Hall of Famer. I've enjoyed this run, and it's been an unbelievable one for me. So I'm here. My journey has brought me here to spend some time with you in hopes of maybe inspiring you to be something special. There's certain things in life that they can measure. They can measure how far you can see, how high you can jump, how strong you are, how fast you can run. These are all measurable things that they can do, but no one can measure what's in your heart. And this is what everything should be about with you, is to play with your heart. I met one of you today, whose name is Adrian Peterson. He talks about what he wants to do and what he wants to accomplish. And he's using his heart as an example to thrust him in the position to be great. We talked about greatness. We talk about excellence. We talk about commitment. We talk about courage. We talk about respect. These are the things that are values, Hall of Fame values, that you really ought to understand and know. I'm here because I made the commitment and I made the sacrifice to be here, to be great. And I don't think I'm great. Most people do. But I'm enjoying the life that I have and I've lived because of the opportunities that I've had. You have opportunities every day in class to be great. Do all that you can to be the best that you can. And one day you can be at the level you want to be at. This is a great opportunity for me to have a chance to share with you, with the questions you asked, about how I got to be here. I want you to ask me what sacrifices I had to make, the courage I had to have, the excellence that I pursued, the sacrifices I made, the commitment I made. These are all the things that are Hall of Fame values that you can have and you can learn and you can hear from a guy who's been that route. And I'm excited to be here with you. I enjoy this. This is what I love. I like encouraging people to be who they want to be and do whatever they want to do. That's my life, is to have an opportunity to come and talk with future Hall of Famers, future doctors, future lawyers. But all the things that you've learned over the next 3 or 4 years will put you in a position where you can be great, where you can be excellent. And this is what you want to be, excellent in everything you do. So with that said, I'm going to turn it back, Ray, to you to let them ask questions if they like.
All right, I think I'm going to be selfish. I'm going to take the first question here. You mentioned all those values, and you really touched on our Hall of Fame values of commitment, integrity, courage, respect, and excellence. Out of those 5, is there one that sticks out as either your favorite or one that's more important to you out of those 5? Which one do you see as, kind of that top one?
Well, pardon me. Commitment is my favorite one. Of course, integrity is something you have. Commitment is something you do. Commitment is mine because I made the commitment to be a pro football player and go to law school at the same time. Very rarely done. Only 2 other guys have done it. Nick Bonacani, who we just lost, and Alan Page, who's a Supreme Court justice in the courts of Minnesota. We went to law school while we played professional football. And it takes a commitment to do that. Everybody can be good, but very few people can be great. And this is what you want to be in anything you do. You want to be great. And I went to law school to become a lawyer. And that don't make me great, but it makes me able to do more than one thing. So thanks for the question, Ray.
All right, we're gonna turn things over to those students right there in front of you in Catawalla Middle School. So go ahead, and whoever's got a question there with Floyd, go ahead and pick somebody with their hand up for our next question.
I know Adrian Peterson had a question earlier. So I'm calling you out, Adrian. What's your question, sir?
It's not like on this paper, but how I don't know how to say it, but what could it I can't know how to say it, but what did it take for you to get to be where you're at right now? I know it takes commitment and sacrifice, but what other things did it take for you do?
What other things? What did it take for me to get to be a Hall of Famer?
Yeah.
What other things that I had to do and had to learn to do to become a Hall of Famer, other than commitment and sacrifice? Just having the will and the skill and ability to know that I can, because a lot of times people will tell you that you can't. You can't do this, you can't do that, you don't have the ability to do this, you don't have the ability to do that. They used to tell me you're not big enough, you're not strong enough, you're not smart enough, you're not fast enough. Why do you want to do that? You need to find something else to do, because this is something you can't. Well, like I said in my Hall of Fame speech, I had a lot of naysayers, people telling me what I can do and what I can't do. That's up to me to decide what I can do and what I can't. That's not up to you or anybody else to tell me what I can do. I wanted to be a lawyer, I wanted to be a professional football player, and I achieved both goals. I wanted to go to law school, graduated law school in '75. I mean, the things that you want to do, you should be able to do, because nobody knows what's in your heart. I talked about that earlier. So if you want to do something and you want to be something, do it at the best of your ability. Just don't be good at it, be great. And being great requires sacrifice and commitment. And all of us have the ability and the opportunity to be great. If you want to be, that's up to you. If you want to do. There's only 3 kinds of people in the world: those that make things happen, those that watch things happen, and those that don't know what happened. So you have a chance to choose which one you want to be. If you want to make it happen, make it happen. Make it happen, because you have an option and a choice to make it happen. So if you want to be a football player, and you and I talked about it, you want to be an Adrian Adrian Peterson too, you can do that. Trust me. Don't look at how big you are, how strong you are, how smart you are. Look at inside of you what you want to commit to do, and do it. And you will be great at doing it if you believe you can. Somebody had a question over here. Yes, sir.
You talked about all of like these traits to be in the Hall of Fame, and you had to make some sacrifices. What was the biggest sacrifice you had to make?
That's a good question. What was the biggest sacrifice I had to make? Getting up every morning, looking in the mirror, saying to myself, today is the best day of your life. Tomorrow's got to be better. I'm going out and I'm going to change your life today. That was something that I wanted to do, and I did every day. I mean, every morning I would say this, even to the day. I say, this is what I want to do. That's the biggest commitment that I had to make. That was the biggest challenge that I had to make. Because sometimes I didn't want to get up. Sometimes I didn't want to do it. But if you make up your mind that this is what I want to do, and this is what I'm going to do, and you get up and you do it, it gets to be a habit. And then you do it every day.
All right, we're gonna go to our students now in Virginia, who, when they came into the classroom, looked really, really excited. They were waving at the camera. They've had their flashlights out. So this guy has been ready to ask a question since he walked in the room. So I go ahead and unmute your mic there. Go ahead and ask your question here for Mr. Little.
So how do you think the game of football has changed since you've been in the league, just like with style or how it's played?
Yeah, I really think that's a good question, because those of us who played years ago, we didn't celebrate when we got in the end zone. We acted like we'd been there before. There was no need to celebrate. There's no need to do a lot of things that I see. And most of the guys that played during my era, they don't agree with the way the players perform. I think they're great players, but they don't have to let everybody know they made a tackle. It's a part of the game. And that's, I think, has gotten out of hand a little bit, but that's just me. As a player, I played the game the best I could, enjoyed the teammates that I played with, enjoyed the wins, the victories we've had, and cried when we didn't win. But I was always a person that remembered something said by some great philosopher that said, when that one great mark comes to score against your name, it will count not who won or lost, but how you played the game. And that's one of the values of the Hall of Fame, is integrity. Integrity is something that we all need to understand. This is something that you have or you don't. It's being that person, the truthful, honorable, righteous. That's what integrity is. And I played with integrity, and I can't say that for a lot of players today. Good question.
Right, our next question is going to be from our students at Fremont Elementary, up in an area you're pretty familiar with, up there in Syracuse, New York, for our next question. So go ahead and have a student step up to the mic and then ask your question.
You want to play in the NFL when you were little? If not, what did you want to do?
What did you want to do if you weren't a football player? You didn't wear that gold jacket. When you were little growing up, what did you want to be?
Well, I was a baseball player, and I was pretty good at playing baseball. I played center field, and I could throw you out from the center field to home plate. So I had a pretty good gun, and that was my arm. But some kid in the neighborhood asked me if I would consider coming out and playing sandlot football with the kids in the neighborhood. Well, I didn't have a helmet. I didn't have any shoes. I didn't have anything. I had to play without a helmet, play without shoes. So I said, yeah, I didn't know a lot about football. So I went out, and they made me a guard. I was too fast for the running backs. So they made me a receiver, and I ran too far down the field for the pass to get to me. So they made me a running back. And that's where I've been from the years when I was in sandlot football to now. But if I could not be a football player, or could not be a baseball player, I would be an attorney, which I am. I would be a lawyer. So that was my goal from the start, is to be an attorney. That's why I wear my Denver Law School hat very proudly because I am an attorney, or I am a graduate of a law school. I'm not an attorney. And I have a gold jacket. So two things I'm most proud of is graduating law school and wearing my gold jacket.
All right, so we do your research before all these programs, and your path to the Hall of Fame might have taken a bit of a turn. There's this guy by the name of General MacArthur, who had a big vision for you to enroll at West Point and then rank as a general and play football for Army. How do you think, with this being the NFL Salute to Service Month, how do you think your career would have been different if you would have taken that opportunity that General MacArthur gave you?
Well, I don't know if the people in the room know who General MacArthur was, but he was probably one of the greatest generals for our United States Army. And he was living in New York at the Waldorf Astoria, which is a hotel now no longer owned. We don't have a Waldorf Astoria anymore, but he invited me with a lot of the great Yankee players to his hotel to talk to me about going to West Point and the values it would be for me to go. In fact, he said I would be the first African-American general. If you look back, I would have been Colin Powell's boss had I gone to West Point. But one guy came to the house after I visited West Point. His name is Ernie Davis. He was the first African-American to win the Heisman Trophy. And he came to my house and asked if I would consider going to Syracuse. But what happened was we went out to dinner. We both never had steak and lobster, so we ordered steak and lobster. And we're in the men's room for about a half hour having a conversation. I'm like thinking my steak and lobster is going to get cold. So I told him, I said, let's go eat. I'll go to Syracuse, let's go eat. Well, 2 months later, he died of leukemia. And I gave my word. And back in my day, your word was your bond. If you gave your word, you don't own anything more valuable than that. I don't know that that's true today. But when I gave Ernie Davis my word that I'd go to Syracuse, and when he died 2 months later, I went to Syracuse because I gave my word. My word is the most valuable thing that I own. If I extend my hand and say to you, I'll do something, or I'll be there, you can count on it. So I don't know that that's true today, because at Syracuse, when I was on staff, I talked to a lot of student athletes. They said they were coming, and the next thing you know, they didn't come. So your word was your bond in my day, and I don't know that that's true today. So, but the General MacArthur experience for me was just unbelievable, that I would have an opportunity to meet and visit with one of the greatest generals that this country's ever had. So that's a good question. Thank you.
All right, we're going to send it back to our students in Virginia for another question. So whenever you're ready, go ahead and ask your question.
Who was your role model growing up?
Who was my role model?
Yeah.
I had a couple. Jim Brown, who you heard earlier today, was a Cleveland Brown running back. I was a running back, so I wanted to be like Jim Brown. Fortunately, I went to Syracuse, and I wore the number 44 that he wore and Ernie wore. So we're the three legendary 44s from Syracuse. But yeah, Ernie Davis was one of my heroes as well. But Bill Russell was the center of the Boston Celtics that won many championships. And I lived in Connecticut, and of course, Massachusetts and Connecticut is pretty close. So Bill came down one evening to talk to us like I'm talking to you. And I had a chance to talk to one of the greatest basketball players ever. And he looked at me and he says, if you do these things, A, B, C, and D, you could be great as well. So when I see Bill Russell today, I always remember that. And I walk up to him and I say, you were right. It takes drive, determination, dedication, desire, commitment, and sacrifice to be great. But if you are willing to make a commitment and a sacrifice, you don't need drive, determination, dedication, and desire. Because that commitment and that sacrifice that you have to make to be great is greater than anything you will ever experience. So I keep saying to you that the things for your success, the things that you need to do to be successful, is you have to have those 6 things that we all need to be successful. And one of the values of the Pro Football Hall of Fame is excellence. One of the other values is commitment. The other one is respect. The other one is integrity. These are the things that you need to be great and to be successful.
All right, we're going to go back to our students there up in Syracuse, New York at Fremont Elementary for our next question. So go ahead, have a student walk up there to the microphone and then ask your question here for Mr. Little. Ask that one more time.
Well, it was hard for you, and how did you get?
Can you do this one more time? Slow it down for us.
Did you have a?
Yeah, your mic keeps cutting out there. So let's see if we can get a little help here. We'll try one more time.
Did you have a? And how did you get through it?
All right. So in your life, did you have anything that you struggled with, and how did you get through that to become, that gold jacket?
A lot, and mainly in school. I didn't have a foundation to be a great student, and I regret. So I had to work really, really hard as a student. So one of the things that I was gifted with is to have a photographic memory. So I could memorize everything that I needed to memorize in order to pass tests, to do great in school, because I wasn't a great student. But I worked hard. And that was the challenge that I had. I had to work hard, I had to develop a memory that I could memorize. And I was a history major, which is a lot of history. Religion major as well. I had religion and history and a public relations minor. So in school, I had to use my memory a lot to get through, and I was able to do that. But that was the biggest challenge for me as a student, is not being an A student or a B student or being a C student. But with that in mind, I still had to work harder than most students. I used to be upset when I see the students having a good time and going out, and I was studying and studying and studying, and they go to the test and they get an A and I get a C. So, but I had to work really, really hard as a student. I know a lot of us don't have the skill or ability to be A students, but if you work hard and you make that commitment and you make that sacrifice, that you're gonna do all you can do. That's all you can do. And if you did that and you thought that way, you'll have the success that you need in life.
So you've mentioned a few times, talking to everybody today about how great it is to have that gold jacket. And when you're enshrined into the Pro Football Hall of Fame, not only do you get that gold jacket that's made by Hager, all gold jackets, you get two other iconic pieces that go along with it. You get the K Jewelers Ring of Excellence, and what might be, you got it on right there. And what might be the most iconic piece is that bronze bust that's going to last 40,000 years here at your second home in Canton, Ohio. So right now I've got the youth and education coordinator. His name is Nathan Martin. He's in our Hall of Fame gallery right now with something that's going to look quite familiar to you, Floyd. So Nathan, you there?
Yeah, Jake, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Awesome. I want to welcome all of you guys to Canton, Ohio, and in our Pro Football Hall of Fame gallery. As Jake said, we've got a bronze bust that looks pretty familiar, hopefully to you guys now and obviously Mr. Little. But we want to tell you how special it really is to have one of these bronze busts. And to put that in perspective, there's been over 300 million people that have played the game of football at all levels, youth, Pop Warner, high school. Of those 300 million, only 5 million have been lucky enough to play the game in college. And to keep going even further, only 29,000 people have played, coached, or administered the game of football at the professional level. One step further, 326 of that 29,000 are lucky enough to have a bronze bust here in Canton, Ohio, Mr. Little being one of them. Floyd Little is a three-time All-American running back at Syracuse, and he was the Denver Broncos' first-round draft pick, sixth player selected overall in the 1967 AFL-NFL draft. What made him so appealing to the Broncos was the versatility he demonstrated at the collegiate level during his years with the Orangemen. Little's multi-dimensional talents quickly translated into success at the pro level. As he refined his running style, the Broncos continued to give him more carries each season. In 1971, he became the first 1,000-yard rusher in Denver Broncos history. He won the NFL rushing title that year, as he finished with 1,133 yards on 284 carries and scored 6 touchdowns. Little also had a knack for finding the end zone, something he did often, especially during a 3-year stretch from 1971 to 1973, when he scored a combined 32 touchdowns, rushing and receiving. In all, Little amassed more than 12,000 all-purpose yards and scored 54 touchdowns during a career that spanned from 1967 to 1975. He gained 6,323 yards on 1,641 career carries and scored 43 rushing touchdowns. As you all can tell, Mr. Floyd Little had a career well deserving of a bronze bust here in Canton. Jake, back to you.
All right, thanks, Nathan. So as you can see there, Floyd, you obviously had a great career, and it culminated with you being enshrined into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Since you've been a Hall of Famer, has there been, maybe like the coolest thing or the coolest moment you got to do, or an event you look forward to going to each year since you've been able to put on that gold jacket?
Yes, there's been 2 unbelievable events that I'm so proud of. I got a chance to meet the Pope, shake his hand. And the unbelievable thing that the Pope asked me to pray for him, which was an unbelievable experience. And I met Benjamin Netanyahu. I had a chance to go to Israel to meet Benjamin Netanyahu and travel a place where Christ traveled, and to float in the Dead Sea and to be baptized in the Jordan River. Those 2 opportunities for me since becoming a Hall of Famer been 2 of the greatest moments of my life, is to meet the Pope and to fly in and go to Israel, float in the Dead Sea, to be baptized in the Jordan, go to Masada, and to walk the same path that Christ walked, and to go to Jerusalem. Those were opportunities as a Hall of Famer that would not have been afforded to me had I not been a Hall of Famer. So I'm grateful and I'm thankful for the opportunity to meet the Pope, and he prayed for me and I prayed for him, and to go to Israel where it started. So yes, those are 2 great times in my life.
I'm sure there's been many, many more, but those are definitely 2 ones. If I was in your shoes, that would stick out to me as well. So we're going to go to the students right there in front of you for our next question. So if there's someone in the classroom there that's got a question, feel free to raise your hand and ask it to Floyd.
There's 3 of them. We'll take this right in front of me. We'll get you guys in a minute.
Instead of going straight to the NFL, what led you to finish up college?
Instead of going straight to the NFL, what led me to finish up college? Well, I finished college before I went to the NFL. I finished college in 3.5 years. So I was done when I got drafted. So I wasn't one of the guys that took fewer classes. I took as many as I could. And I hadn't planned on going to the draft, but I got a chance to go to the draft and they drafted me. I didn't have to come back to finish. I'd already finished. You had a question over here?
Yeah, so I remember you saying something about getting invited to play football in your neighborhood. So what do you think? Where do you think your life would have led if you never played football?
It's amazing. That's a good question. I had a chance, opportunity to play satellite football in my neighborhood, and I took the opportunity. What would have happened if I did not take that opportunity to go play satellite with the kids in the neighborhood? I can't tell you, but I wouldn't be sitting here in a gold jacket. I could tell you that, which is one of the greatest times of my life, the greatest moments of my life, is when I got that call that morning. And usually when you get a call in the morning, 7 o'clock in the morning, it's not really good. But it was someone from the Hall of Fame telling me that I was considered for Hall of Fame consideration. And I tell you what, here I am, as old as I am. I mean, I cried like a baby because it's been an opportunity of a lifetime and it's something I waited for. So what would have happened had I not gone play football with the kids in the neighborhood? I would not have the opportunity I have today to sit before you, our future leaders, and to have the opportunity to go to Israel or go to Rome to meet the Pope. All of these things would never have happened for me if I didn't say yes to Kid in the Neighborhood. I wouldn't have had a chance to do a lot of things that I've done. But this is great. And one of the greatest things for me is to have an opportunity to share my journey and the things that's happened in my life with a bunch of young people who's still developing who they are, what they want to do. But I hope that I can inspire you to do great things in life and to be great in anything you do and consider being excellent at all the things in life that you have a chance to be. If you can do that, then my time is worthwhile.
All right. We got one more. We got another question there?
Got two of them. When I gained my fame, it had changed the people around me. I think it embraced them. I think it encouraged them. And they all knew that a guy coming from the neighborhood that I came from can reach this level of height and success. It encouraged them to want to do better than they're doing and encouraged them to know that there's an opportunity for them if they reach for it, if they grasp and reach for opportunities in their life, that if I can do it, they can do it. So I was an inspiration to a lot of the people I grew up with. Then I get calls from people I went to middle school with to say, I'm proud of you, or to see me on TV saying, Floyd, I'm so proud of you because we were in the same class together and you made it, and God bless you. So that's a good question.
All right, we're going to go to our students now over there in Virginia for our next question. Looks like we got a student right there by the mic ready to go. So go ahead and ask your question when you're ready.
Yeah, what's the biggest difference you noticed playing college football to professional football?
What's the biggest difference between college and professional football? The guys are huge. And they're bigger, they're stronger, they're faster. It's a big difference when you get hit by a 300-pounder compared to a 150-pounder. But yeah, it's a big difference. It's a step up. It's a lot to learn. It's a lot of strength and conditioning. It's a lot of discipline things you have to do. But you know, some of the things didn't bother me because I can lift over 400 pounds as a guy who was 200. I was the strongest guy on my team. So my strength didn't change, but the competition did. And it was a difference. It's a big difference going from one level to another. I would imagine it's like playing Pee-wee football and going to play college. That's the similarity. They play Pee-wee football and then play college. I think the Pee-wee's going to get beat up pretty good. But it's the maturity, it's the strength, it's the conditioning, it's different on every level when you're growing up. But it was a difference.
All right, we're going to send it back to Syracuse, New York for our next question to Fremont Elementary School. So go ahead and have your student walk up there to the computer, and we'll ask our next question here from Mr. Little. Whenever you're ready.
When did you want to join the NFL?
When did you want to go to the NFL? Did you have a day, or was there a moment, a play that stuck out to you and went, all right, I think I can do this?
No, I had a lot of success in college. I was a 3-time All-American. And I knew somebody would want me on their team somewhere. I was hopeful that I would go play for the Jets because they had offered me the same contract that they gave Joe Namath. But unfortunately, it was the year of the merger where Joe Namath got $400,000 when the teams were battling for him. I got $20,000 because of the merger. So $380,000 still out that I'm still looking for somewhere. But the leagues that merged, it really stopped the high salaries. And then when I retired in '75, the high salaries started up again. So one of the things that I got to consider doing is suing my parents for having me too soon. Because they had me at the draft, which is the common draft, and then I retired. It went back to what it was. So I've been very, very fortunate, but not fortunate on that side of the ball. But I'm still happy with who I am and what I've accomplished.
So you talk a little bit about, going to the NFL, and everybody who's been in the NFL or in any professional sport kind of has that welcome here moment. What was your welcome to the NFL moment?
Well, when I got drafted by the Broncos, I had no idea where Denver was. I thought they still had Conestoga wagons. I thought that they were being attacked by the Native Americans. So I was shocked that the Denver Broncos, I said, where is Denver? Where is Denver? And I had never been because I was on the East Coast. But the shock for me was when I flew to Denver for an opportunity to talk to management. It was so beautiful. The mountains, it was surrounded by mountains with snow on them. I'd never seen anything as beautiful. So Denver became very, very good to me, and it became my home. And I had other opportunities to go to other teams. Kansas City Chiefs wanted me. And then when Hank Stram moved to New Orleans, Louisiana, he wanted me to come join his team. But I was very loyal as a ball player. This is the team that drafted me. This is the team I would finish with. And I had a great 9 years with the Broncos. And I was the first round draft pick to ever sign. I was the first Ring of Famer. When I signed with the Broncos, they were moving to Chicago. I went door to door to help everybody come out to support the Broncos and buy season tickets. And they've been the #1 sellout professional sports franchise in the country because I went door to door, got people to buy season tickets, and I got the new name, the franchise. So now my nickname is the franchise because I saved the Broncos franchise. So it's good, all good. I mean, I didn't get the kind of dollars that a lot of players got, but I got a lot of fame and a lot of opportunity to talk with a lot of young minds. And I love this.
All right, we're going to send it back to our students in Virginia for our next question. So it looks like we got a student ready to go. So ask your question whenever you're ready.
You could give one current NFL running back advice. Who would it be, and what would you tell them?
Well, it's so funny that you would ask that because I did get a chance to talk to one I think is great. This guy's name is Leonard Fournette. He is on the Jaguar team, and the coach of the Jaguars is a coach that was at Syracuse, and the general manager is my teammate, Tom Coughlin. Tom Coughlin and I played with Larry Zonk at Syracuse. And I had a chance to talk to Leonard. And Leonard Fournette came into the dome where Syracuse played a football game and pointed up to the rafters. There's a 44 jersey hanging up in the rafters from Jim Brown and Ernie Davis and me. And Leonard Fournette walked out on the field and pointed up to that jersey and said, "Thank you guys for making it possible for me to be a football player." So I had a chance to talk to Leonard Fournette because I went to London with them to play the Texans 3 days ago. I was in London, the Jacksonville Jaguar Texans game. And the only advice that I would give, and I gave it to him, I said, just be a humble, hardworking, dedicated, committed football player. And don't play for yourself, play for your team. It's not about you, it's about your team. And if you did that, and you played that way, and you made it about your team, that would be good.
All right.
That's the advice I would give. Play for your team.
All right, we're going to send it back to New York, Fremont Elementary, for our next question. So go ahead and have your student. Looks like we got a bunch of hands raised up there. So go ahead and have that next student walk up to the computer and ask your question here for Mr. Little. All right, can you ask that again? Slow it down and back up from the microphone a little bit.
At my cafeteria workers, you can leave.
Have you ever won a Super Bowl?
You ask if he has ever won a Super Bowl. Was that your question?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Little, have you ever won a Super Bowl?
No, and it's unfortunate because that's the only thing in life that I haven't accomplished. I retired the year they went to the Super Bowl, which was unfortunate for me. All I had to do was hang in there for another couple of weeks. I would have got a Super Bowl ring. But you know what? This is the most important ring that I have and would have. And if I had gone to the Super Bowl and got a Super Bowl ring, this is the ring that I would really wear. Everybody that's gone to the Super Bowl that's seen this ring will trade a Super Bowl ring for Hall of Fame ring. And so I've never been to a Super Bowl. The Denver Broncos played the Dallas Cowboys. They lost the game. And I wish that I could have been there because if I were on the team, I think as their captain, I could have encouraged him to do better, and I think we could have won the game.
All right, so as I mentioned before, we do these programs all the time, and we look into everybody we're going to be talking to. So I did some research, and I got some things I want to read off here. Pro Football Hall of Fame in 2010, College Football Hall of Fame in 1983, Denver Broncos Ring of Honor in 1984. Your number 44 is retired by the Broncos and the University of Syracuse. You have the Floyd Little Athletic Center named after you. You were an All-Pro, the NFL rushing leader in 1971, and a 3-time All-American at Syracuse. So you could say that you had a decent career. What do all those awards and those accolades mean to you?
Well, it means a lot that, I'm in 10 Halls of Fame, and you don't just get there because you want to be there. When I look back and see the struggles and the commitment and the sacrifices that I made, which is a lot of Hall of Fame values. It means a lot that I'm able to sit down as a person that's under 200 pounds, under 6 feet, to accomplish all of those things. There's hope for everybody if they believe. They really believe that they can do something, they can do it. They really have the opportunity to exceed, they can. So all of those things mean that I was able to do things where I shouldn't have been able to do because of the limitations people put on you. Don't let anybody put any limitations on you. It doesn't matter how big or tall or strong you are. You can do whatever you want to do if you really want to do it. If you are willing to make the commitment and the sacrifice, that's all it takes to be great. 2 things, commitment and sacrifice. If you're willing to do those 2 things, don't worry about anything else. You can do whatever you want to do.
All right, we'll go to the students right there in front of you. We got about, looks like 10 or so minutes left, so we'll see if we can get through every school one more time, but we'll go to those students right there in front of you next.
Well, I think you've had your hand up.
What changes would you make to the NFL?
What changes would I make?
Yeah.
What changes that I would make in the Pro Football Hall, in the National Football League?
Yes.
I would make the contact of using your helmet as a weapon outlaw. I would not allow, if I was in charge, for another player to use his head to hit another player who is unsuspecting a cheap shot. He would be out of the game. You got 1 shot and you're out. I would be that kind of commissioner. You use your helmet to hurt somebody intentionally, you'll never play another game of football. And I think that'll slow it down pretty good. Or if I was in the National Football League, one of the things that I would change, take the face mask off. Now, you're not going to go in there and hurt yourself, break your nose, knock your teeth out, trying to hurt somebody. Remove the face mask. That will make the game a lot safer. Guarantee it. Guarantee it. Get one back there.
Did you face any criticism?
Say again?
Did you face any criticism?
I didn't hear it. I heard, did I face any criticism?
Yeah,
from media or people? Oh, a lot, because I spoke my mind. I would say what was right and what was wrong. I would say this is not right. If somebody tell me, well, you're not going to take the face mask off, I said, if you want to make the game safe, Take away the face mask. Stop talking about it. That's one way to make the game safe. Tell me another. Tell me another one, you know, how to make the game safe. I want the game to be safe. I want football to last forever. But you got guys now that's 275 pounds, run faster than me. Not fair if that guy's outrunning the little guy. But it happens. So I think the game should be made safer. And there's things that we can do to make it safe. Because I like the game and I like to see it around a long time. Yeah, the question back there, yes.
What was your favorite NFL moment?
What was my favorite NFL moment?
Yeah.
The last game I played in Mile High Stadium, we played the Philadelphia Eagles, and Bill Bergey and Harold Carmichael, who played for the Eagles at the time, walked me off the field and said that I was a great player and they're going to miss me. When you have your opponents say that you were a good or a great player, and we enjoyed having an opportunity to compete against you, and we will miss you, and God bless you and good luck. That was one of my favorite moments as a player.
All right, we're going to go to our next students there. We're going to go back to Virginia for another question. Looks like we got a student ready to go. So whenever you're ready, go ahead and ask your question.
Why do you think the NFL is valuing the running back position?
Can you repeat that one more time?
Why do you think the NFL has devalued the running back position?
Can you repeat the question? I didn't understand it.
Why do you think the NFL is undervaluing running backs?
Why do I think the NFL is undervalued and something else?
Yes.
Running backs.
Yep.
Undervaluing running backs.
I think the game changes. The game changes so much. I mean, since I played, the game really, really changed. It's more of a passing league now. They need great receivers, great blockers. Running backs like Elliott and there's still quite a few running backs that's getting an opportunity to catch the ball. It depends on the system that your team has. And it depends on the strength of your offensive line. Your offensive line dictates what kind of system you have. If you don't have a good offensive line, you can't block anybody. If you don't have an offensive line, you can't pass block. So it really changes, depends on your offensive line. Offensive line determines what kind of system you have. So if you got a good offensive line, you can do pretty much anything. But if you got a good running back that can help the passing game, you got to use that running back. But you have to have good blocking for a running back to be good. So it's a lot of variations that it takes place. So it depends on your offensive line.
All right, we're going to go back to our students there at Fremont in Syracuse for our next question, and then we'll look to wrap everything up here. So whenever you're ready up there in New York, send your student up there to the microphone, and we'll ask our next question. Looks like we got somebody coming. All right, there you go.
How did it feel when you became a superstar in the classroom and on the field?
So how did it feel to become a superstar? Not only, on the football field, but in the classroom as well.
As a person, you can't consider yourself a superstar. That's just over the top. You can't walk around saying I'm a superstar. I wasn't a superstar. I was a player that had some skill that I was able to avoid getting tackled a lot. I wasn't a superstar. I was afraid to get hit. And as a student in the classroom, I don't know if any student worked harder than me to get through it. It wasn't easy for me as a student. I had to work 2 to 3 times as hard as the average student just to get by. But you would not think that a guy who's struggling in school would want to go to school again in law school, which I did. And I struggled in law school. But I was in the top 20% of my law school class. It was a challenge. But I like challenges. When you tell me I can't do something, that's when you get somebody I'm ready to roll now. Just tell me what you think I can do and what I can't do. That was the big motivator for me, is being told that I couldn't. I hated that. And that was the thing that really motivated me to show you that I can. So that's a good question. I like that. That was really good.
All right, we're gonna
Not
send
a
it back.
superstar, but I'm a person.
We're gonna send it back out to Virginia for our next question. We'll have a student come up there to the microphone. They're looking around. All right, or for our next question, go ahead and ask your question there whenever you're ready.
Who was your favorite teammate while you're in the NFL?
I had my roommate, a guy named Francis Xavier Lynch from college days. He was a rookie with me. He's from Hofstra College. And we were both running backs. And I roomed with him my whole time as a Bronco. And he's no longer with us now. Francis Xavier Lynch was a great person for me. And we were both running backs. And he used to say to me before a game, he used to have a can of beer under the bed. He says, are you going to play all the whole game? I said, yeah. He said, I just needed to know. Psst. He drinks his beer. So he was good for me. He was good for me. He made me play hard. And you need somebody to push you. All of us need somebody to push us. That's why I ask all of the people, hang around with people that's smarter than you. Hang around with people that want to grow. Hang around with people better athletes than you. That's the only way you're going to get better, is to compete with people that have better skills than you have. Go to school, go to class, find the smartest person in your class, hang with them. Those are the people you want to be around. Pick the people you want to be. You don't have to tell me who you are, just tell me who your friends are. And then I can tell you who you are. Because your friends have a great influence on you. So don't tell me who you are. I don't need to know who you are. Just tell me who your friends are. That'll tell you who you are.
All right, we're going to start winding it down here. And the way I like to end every program, and it's a great gauge, a great way to end everything, is if you could leave everybody who watched this program today, whether it's the students there in front of you, the students we had from Virginia and New York tune in, or anybody that watched this program on Facebook Live, what is one piece of advice you want both adults, students, anybody who watched this program today to take away?
I think just being true to yourself. Have a commitment to win in everything you do. Don't just go someplace just to be there. Be there to make a difference. Just try to make a difference every day. Like I said, every morning, still today, when I'm shaving or brushing my teeth, I look in the mirror and I say, today is the best day of my life, and tomorrow's got to be better. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to make a difference, and I'm going to change the life. Have a commitment to win every day. And if you did that every day, you start your day on a positive attitude. Or you could say, oh, I hate getting up. Your whole day is going to be shot if you started off with a negative attitude. So start your day every day with a positive attitude. When you're brushing your teeth, just say, hey, today is the best day of my life. And tomorrow has got to be better. I'm going to change your life today if I don't do anything else. It's a positive way to start your day. You'd be surprised how your day ends up. It's not like, woe is me, I got to do this, I got to go to class, I hate this teacher, oh my God. No, I can't wait to see this teacher. I'm going to learn something special today. This is what I can say to everybody that's listening. Be positive. Be forthright. Be willing to make that commitment. Be willing to make that sacrifice. Have the integrity that you need to have. Have the respect. Respect is earned and given. Respect is earned and given. Have the courage to tell somebody, I care about you. Have the courage to do that. So these are the things that I like to leave with you. The value, Hall of Fame values.
I think everybody tomorrow morning should have a great day. Get up, say that, you know, they're going to change the world tomorrow. So with that, I'd like to wrap up this latest installment of the Pro Football Hall of Fame's Heart of a Hall of Famer series featuring Gold Jacket and class of 2010 member Floyd Little. Floyd, I'd like to thank you from our youth and education team, Jerry, myself, and Nathan, Michael, all the way up the chain to Mr. Baker. We thank you for everything you've done for us here at the Pro Football Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio, and for everything you've done for the game of football. I always like to say, the game of football we watch today wouldn't be the same as it is without our Gold Jackets' influence on the game. So thank you for everything you've done for us. Thank you for everything you've done for the sport of football. And with that, let's give class of 2010 inductee, Gold Jacket, Mr. Floyd Little, one last round of applause. All right, everybody who participated today, thank you so much everybody who tuned in on Facebook. Thank you for tuning in today. We hope to see all of you here back in Canton, Ohio at the Pro Football Hall of Fame one day. So thank you, everybody, and we'll see everybody and talk to you later.